feelings start to pressure you, it's alright, I will give you time.
This is the origin of Vinrael Bloodhunter Sara'thai. The Sara'thai tribe had been decimated. Buildings were smoldering, bodies strewn across the ground, and the sacred totems of the clan were desecrated. As Vinrael moved through the remnants of the village, the reality of the situation slowly sank in. His kin were no more. He was the last of the Sara'thai tribe. He knelt by the body of the tribe's elder, the wise Sara'thai, who had taught him the ways of their people and the art of the hunt. His hand shook as he closed her lifeless eyes. A deep sorrow echoed through his being, but it was soon replaced by a burning rage and determination. Whoever or whatever had done this to his tribe, he would find them. He would hunt them down like the monsters they were and make them pay for their crimes. Vinrael, last of the Sara'thai tribe, had a new purpose. He would be the avenger for his people. He gathered up his few belongings, including his hunting tools, the clan's sacred hunting necklace, and set off on his journey. His heart was heavy, but his resolve was unshakable. Vinrael of the Sara'thai clan would let the world know that his tribe may have been eradicated, but their memory, their legacy, lived on through him. It is during Vinrael's time in Hartsvale he met the elven bloodhunter Silna. Silna, an outcast of her elvish society, the two that often kept to themselves. She quickly was able to see the pain and horror within Vinrael through her many years of experience. Silna decided to train Vinrael in the way of the Bloodhunter and welcomed him to the Brotherhood officially after many years of training. Vinrael, now known as Bloodhunter, began to see his path in a new light. His mentor, Silna, taught him not just the ways of the Bloodhunter, but also the wisdom to distinguish between blind rage and righteous fury. He learned to channel his anger, to use it as a weapon against the dark creatures they hunted, rather than let it consume him. The training was brutal, pushing him to his physical and mental limits. He learned to face his fears, to harness the power of his own blood, and to endure the pain that came with it. His body was marked with the crimson rites of the Bloodhunters, symbols of power etched into his skin that granted him abilities beyond those of mortal beings. Despite the intensity of his training, Bloodhunter found a sense of peace in his new life. He was part of a brotherhood, a new tribe that understood his pain and shared his purpose. The horror of his past no longer consumed him, instead, it fueled his determination to protect others from suffering the same fate. His vow of vengeance was now a mission to protect, to hunt, and to eliminate the dark forces that threatened the world. The Bloodhunter was not just a title, it was his identity. He was Vinrael, the Goliath Bloodhunter, the last of the Sara'thai tribe, and a guardian against the darkness. His journey was far from over, but he was ready to face whatever came his way. He was not alone anymore. He had his mentor, Silna, and the Brotherhood of Bloodhunters by his side. The memory of his tribe still lived within him, their teachings, their values, their spirit. He carried their legacy forward, proving to the world that although the Sara'thai tribe was no more, their spirit lived on in him. Through his actions, he would ensure that they were never forgotten. One day, Bloodhunter made his return at nightfall, having completed his training in the outskirts of Hartsvale. The scene that met his eyes was hauntingly familiar, albeit on a smaller scale. Silna's cabin was ablaze, the air heavy with the scent of sulfur. Once again, Bloodhunter was too late to prevent tragedy. First, he stumbled upon an arm, then a few paces away, a leg. Finally, he discovered Silna's dismembered body, brutally mutilated and beyond any hope of medical intervention. Overwhelmed by rage and grief, Bloodhunter hurled his battle axe at the nearest standing pillar. The remaining parts of the house, already weakened, fell under the force of his blow. When the last flame was extinguished, only one thing remained untouched: Silna's simple rapier. Bloodhunter picked up the rapier, his heart filled with a renewed vow of vengeance against the dark forces responsible for this atrocity. Determined to seek justice, he turned south, intending to enlist the help of other bloodhunters. The acts of violence that had unfolded seemed to be connected by the lingering smell of sulfur and his unfortunate presence. With Silna's rapier in hand and his resolve steeled, the bloodhunter journeyed south. The image of Silna's brutalized body haunted him, but it also drove him forward. He could not, would not, allow her death to be in vain, just as he hadn't allowed his tribe's annihilation to be forgotten. The bloodhunter traveled across rugged terrain, through dense forests and over high mountains, always heading south. As he journeyed, he noticed the strange occurrences of sulfuric smell, which he had associated with the destruction of his tribe and Silna's cabin. The sulfur was a clue, an indicator that he was on the right path. It was a dark, ominous trail, but it was his only lead. His destination was the rumored gathering place of bloodhunters, a hidden enclave known as the Crimson Sanctum. If there were others who could help him in his quest for vengeance, he would find them there. Upon reaching the Crimson Sanctum, he was met with suspicion. After all, he was a Goliath, a figure of imposing stature and unusual in the ranks of bloodhunters. But when he showed them Silna's rapier and told his tale, they understood. They saw in him the same determination, the same desire for justice, that they themselves carried. The bloodhunters of the Crimson Sanctum welcomed him. They shared their knowledge, their resources, and their skills. Together, they began to unravel the mystery of the sulfuric smell, the brutal massacres, and the seemingly linked tragedies that had befallen the bloodhunter. As he delved deeper into the investigation, the bloodhunter couldn't help but feel a sense of dread. However, he wouldn't let that stop him. He was determined to avenge his tribe and Silna, no matter the cost. The path ahead was treacherous and fraught with danger, but the bloodhunter was ready. He was not just a warrior, but a hunter, and he would stop at nothing until he had hunted down those responsible for his losses. The memory of the Sara'thai tribe and of Silna fueled his resolve. He would make sure that their deaths were avenged.